Good evening, everyone. James Hicks here from Hicks New Media and Infotainment News. Tonight is a special night. We have a fantastic discussion in line for you. I've got a panel of some winners behind the scenes right now, and I'm not taking or saying that lightly. Tonight, we're going to talk about healthy consumption and plant-based diet, plant-based nutrition, vegan versus vegetarian, understanding how you can take better care of yourself inside, right? What you put in your body, you are what you eat. You've heard that forever. And, without further ado, let me start bringing on folks so you can definitely see who we've got. Good afternoon to you guys. Good to see you.
Hey, James.
Awesome. You know what? Let's start as always, and the right way. Let's start ladies first. If you guys could just introduce yourself, say your name and where you are.
I'm Dana, and I'm in Los Angeles, South Bay.
We might as well go on to you, Mr. Eric
Sorry.
Burks.
I don't know which one.
Yeah, my name is Eric. We're here in the South Bay. To be specific, we're like in the borderline Redondo, Torrance area. Kind of enjoy this beach life, but glad we're here talking about healthy eating choices.
Yeah, and to be even more specific, you're about 10 feet away from each other right now, right?
Yeah, you can.
I love it. Mr. Thompson.
Yes, good evening. And by the way, I can tell you guys. Mark.
Now, Mark, I'm not gonna make fun of your cellular provider. I'm not gonna say you on like Boost Mobile or any of those other companies because we could be looking for some sponsorship from one of these days. But you might have to adjust that connection, brother, because you did not come through as clear as you could. We'll get back to you though, Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, James, thank you for having me on with this panel. I look forward to the discussion. Clifton Roberts here, based in Marysville, California, right outside of Sacramento. And can't wait to share my story, my plant-based story, with you and your audience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Last but definitely not least, sitting in his car. Hopefully it's not too hot where you are, Mr. Bill Horrenda. Oh no, this is just terrible. Look, I know I got like fiber coming to the house, so I paid the couple extra bucks to make sure I got the connection. But let's continue on, and hopefully Mark and Bill can get their connections dialed in. And let me ask you guys again. The topic for tonight is healthy consumption, plant-based diets, and I guess let me start and ask each of you where you fit in that whole continuum, right? What does your nutrition regimen look like, and also when and why did you make that switch, right? So if you're not focusing on, as you possibly should, if you're not focusing on Burger King and McDonald's and the fast food, but you're looking more towards the healthy intake, why did you make that choice, and when did you make that choice in your life? We'll start again with you, Dana.
My decision actually started. I went vegan maybe when my third daughter was, I want to say she was 5, and I was vegan for about 5 years. And I chose to go vegan because I actually had seen a lot of, I don't know if you guys seen those amazing shocking Asias or Faces of Death videos from a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember those videos. So after learning, I guess, about like mortality, I used to be able to watch like surgeries and stuff and not be grossed out. And then after seeing like somebody die, I just like, ugh. And then knowing that animals, cry for their moms, I just honestly, I felt like I wanted to puke when I would eat like flesh. So I was vegan for about 5 years, just vegan. And then I got pregnant with my last daughter, and then for some weird reason I was craving meat, and my Mia, my third child, she was actually eating a burger. I said, "Can I lick that?" And then she's like, "Okay." So I started eating meat again, and we do, like, right now we incorporate meat on occasion, but for the most part, I do. We eat vegetarianish, vegan, vegetarian. We do more so plant based than meat.
Okay, okay. Mr. Thompson, are you ready to make it happen?
Well, I moved around the house here. So
Okay,
how's it?
okay.
Is it
That's perfect, brother.
connection?
That's perfect.
Perfect, perfect. All right. So should I go back to intros, or you guys got all that before?
We got it. I'll make it up. I'll put it in the show notes. We want to hear your story. We want to hear your journey towards cleaning up the nutrition.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So I got engaged about 3 years ago with a doctor on gastro, and her name is Dr. Angie Sadeghi, and she just finished a.
See, there we go. Right.
No, hey, James, I sympathize because I've been in this
Well,
situation.
see, you are like seriously on a farm. He's not on a farm. He's down in the in the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles. And Cliff, I want you to go last, right? Because I want to hear your story and kind of tail that into kind of what Dana was saying, and I really want to kind of culminate with you. So I'm gonna go next to Bill if we could.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My story, I guess, is real simple. Family history of heart disease. My wife and daughters are vegan, and I got to a point where sky high blood pressure, was about 40 pounds over my playing weight in college, and kind of weighed the most I ever had. So with their encouragement, went the plant-based route and got down to my playing weight, not the weight that I would be at the end of the season, but probably the weight I was on campus back in the day entering my senior year. And blood pressure sky high to normal, and all just by kind of following their lead, and then also just making those choices each day, which I think sometimes initially can be really daunting, that I'm going to avoid meat, I'm going to avoid seafood, I'm going to find marinara sauce and other items that are very low in sodium. But then was fortunate enough to kind of reap the tangible benefits health-wise, seeing normal checkups at the doctor and what have you. But then also, like, some of the intangibles, like just feeling lighter, having more energy, and just feeling different, but feeling very positive. And then almost coming full circle, I didn't do it with a environmental focus or a ethical focus, but then recognizing that, hey, this is certainly better for animals to go plant-based, and it's also better for the environment in many ways. So I kind of got to those towards the end of this, and I've been in it now, I would say probably about 3 years and change that I've been plant-based. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, definitely. That brings the context, right? And again, once Mark gets able to get connected, I mean, it's really interesting to hear your perspective as you talk about getting back to your playing weight, right? Because from an athlete's perspective, and Mark was also he was a star quarterback back in school as well. So just understanding the dynamics of knowing your body and knowing what your intake is, and then how you actually perform out there on the field and things of that nature. Now's a good time, Cliff. I think, let's kind of wrap these up, and then EB, I'll come back to you as well. But Cliff, I'd love to hear now your story, because it resonates with, I think, everything that has been said thus far.
Yeah, thanks, James. So at 30, and remember, I'll be 53 this September. At 30, I just made a decision. I had some some practice up until then, saying I was going to be vegetarian or whatever. And my wife and I, we had read this book by Mary Lou Henner. If you guys remember her from Taxi, right? So this was going on 23 years ago. And I'll never forget the part of the book that said, you know, if you're thinking about going vegetarian, you should think about eating completely 100% plant-based. And she talked about dairy. And she said that the milk of a cow, by genetic design, is designed to turn its 40-pound calf, which has 4 compartments in its stomach, into a 2,000-pound beast in less than 2 years. So if you imagine us as mammals, if you just look at it from a biological perspective, right? Us as mammals, imagine what that powerful liquid, the secretion of another mammal designed to feed its children, to grow into this behemoth of a beast, right, in 2 years. What does that do to us when we are not designed to consume that type of liquid? And I thought about it, and I thought back to my acne. Eric can attest to this, man. When we were in high school, man, I had acne, and I always was worried about busting my blackheads. And then I was also diagnosed with what medical practitioners, and I call them practitioners for a reason, diagnosed me with asthma. And they told me that along my path that I was allergic to nature. They used my mom and dad.
Wow.
Used to take me into these men and women who read a lot of books and received this title doctor, medical practitioner, right? You know, they did those tests, the allergy tests, and they told me I was allergic to grass, to dogs, to cats, to birds, to, you know. And so after reading her book, I thought to myself, I said, you know, that might be a reason why I'm always congested. And so I said, you know what, babe, let's do it. Let's take this plunge together, right? And we did. And 2 weeks later, kid you not, threw away my inhaler for the first time in my life for as long as I can remember. My skin started to clear up, and I never looked back. Now, what Bill mentioned, initially it was for those selfish reasons. I was thinking of myself. I was thinking of my own health. And the more that I started to try to preach to other people, meaning my family members and my loved ones. James, Eric, you remember this. I came to you guys and I'm like,
yeah.
And no, Dana, your husband used to make fun of me. He'd be like, oh, Cliff, you eat like a bird. James would say it. Willie would say it. All my closest friends would make fun of me. But, you know, and that's all in fun. We did that with each other. But it came full circle, like Bill mentioned, and I started to learn more about what happened to the animals. So it became more of a crusade for me to not only be compassionate towards myself and my family members and my loved ones and my friends, but also to think about other sentient beings. And, you know, my acronym for muscle, for meat, MEAT, is muscle and epinephrine of animal tissue. Because that's what it is. We're really eating the muscles of other animals that have been traumatized right before they're about to die. They're injected with their own hormones of survival, and no matter how much you homogenize milk or try to clean meat, you're not taking none of that out. So I mean, that's the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah.
But this September will be 23 years as a plant-based person and as a vegan, meaning as a person who also considers the ethical implications. As a vegan, probably about 18 years.
Okay.
Right? And meaning I really pay attention to the clothes that I buy. I really pay attention to, you know, as much as possible within my power not to even consume other types of products. So that's the difference also that I see with plant-based and being vegan. Vegan is a complete commitment to live your life according to humane values, to really consider the planet, really consider animals, whereas plant-based is really just thinking about yourself and in the way that you consume things to protect your insides.
That's interesting insight, because I never kind of looked at the two separately, right? In terms of a definition. So that's really intriguing the way that you put that.
Yeah.
Eric, let me ask you your journey, right, towards healthy living, healthy nutrition. I know you're heavy into training. You're heavy into, again, building the body and things of that nature. But what got you on a path to cutting out the quick eat and go type of stuff?
For me, again, the selfish reasons, like, working out and training, it started out that way. And I tried to go do a vegetarian thing. And then I kid you, I was watching what was I looking? I was looking at either it was Instagram, I think it was Instagram or Facebook. And I saw Cliff. I was like, he's running. I was like, what the heck? And then there, he's talking about vegan, being vegan. I was like trying to, listen to all the stories that they were telling about, the environment and the stuff that we do to the environment. Then you start seeing it and recognizing what people are doing. I mean, I'm like, we have to be the only creatures that have to overabundance. You go to these places, and we were kids. We were like eating. I would literally not finish a burger or something and just throw the rest of it away. I'm like, and when you look at, and I'm not saying all like meat eating people are bad people. I mean, back in the day, there was a reason to, at that time was the reason to eat meat. When they consume, people were one with nature. And, you see the stuff like that was on Avatar. I mean, that's real. People said, hey, you know what? We want to consume this. And it was, no one sat there and said, let's kill 300 deer so we have food for like 5 years. But anyway, my journey started because it did start with my energy levels. Okay. And Cliff was not lying when he said in 2 weeks. In a matter of days, when I stopped drinking milk, eating eggs, eating meat, and all that, my energy levels. I posted a video of me benching 3 plates like it was nothing, and then I said, let me test this. I went back and I had, I don't eat red meat. I ate chicken at that time. I ate chicken and stuff, so I ate chicken, and I was so sluggish that day. It was hard for me to wake up, go to the gym, and start and working out. I lifted the same 3 weights. Dana will tell you. I said, oh my God, I did it like 4 times. Got off the meat. I was hitting it like I was doing it like my whole life. I was like, oh, crazy. And I've literally seen the change in my body, how I felt. I would always get puffy. You guys see me when I'll work out back in the day, and I'd get puffy, but never lean, lean. Right. I'm probably the leanest I've ever been in my entire life, in 53 years, right? So, but that selfish aspect, that's the start. But you start to recognize the environmental implications. And I start looking at people. I know it's not good. I should never judge. I start looking at them in disgust. I'm like, you're just killing. Like I literally seen this kid take a cup, finish drinking it, holding his mom's hand. He threw it in the bush. Oh, they don't tell. I was like, what the hell? I mean, why didn't the parents anything? So we're slowly destroying our planet. So if I can teach my kids to, like you said, it's a commitment. Vegan is just a start. If we take care of this planet, it will take care of us. Look at what's happening now. Look at what's happening now. And I really want to do my part. So it's now past that whole selfish part. And, Dana will tell you that, she says, what do you want to eat today? Well, we still like fast food, but guess what fast food has now? Vegan options.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Vegan options. And, I went to Baskin Robbins because my Achilles heel, my kryptonite.
That's your weakness, right? That's your weakness.
Yeah. Not anymore because they got vegan options. They have non-dairy. No, but honestly, I really need to start reading into ingredients, and that's why Dana's great at that. She that's why we're like such a good pair, because she goes into the ingredients part. Because I did not know. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, Twizzlers is good for me. They use animal fat sometimes in these candies, and I don't want to keep harping on it. I'm probably talking and rambling, but yeah, my journey has taken me to a different level. And am I purely vegan yet? No, not yet. But I'm striving to be there, and that's my goal, is to completely not rely on. I'm not saying so much meat, but like I think we had eggs the other day, and I really want to, because I really believe that transfer of energy. And Dana says this all the time, that animals have that transfer. Why do you think a mother feeds her breastfeeds her kid? To give them the nutrients from her body. We're getting that from animals' bodies, and like Cliff said, they're traumatized. You're getting that energy into your system, and I'll stop there, but I'll let everybody else talk. But
I love it. It's all right, brother. Appreciate you being on the soapbox there. And this is the type of discussion I think that we need to have, right? I really kind of started my journey of trying to get cleaner with my intake. It may have actually been that night probably 10 years ago, Cliff, we went out to dinner. We went out to dinner downtown Sacramento. I forgot the restaurant that we went to. I think maybe a Thai restaurant or something of that nature. But I ordered something off of the menu. Right, had my chicken and my whatever. And you ordered something. You were working with the wait staff and being real specific in terms of what you were eating. And I was watching you. Yeah, I was taking pictures of you because it'd been so long since I seen you. So yeah, I took a little quick selfie of I got my guy here. But that whole conscious activity of I need to know what I'm putting in my body, what I'm putting in my system, and if it's not doing a positive good for me, yeah, maybe comfort food or whatever that someone else is eating. Yet it may be the taste or maybe something I've grown up on. But you know what? If it's not fueling my body in the right way, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And ever since that night, again, it's over 10 so years ago. I haven't told you about this, but that has really kind of changed my entire mindset in terms of I hardly grill anymore. I've shown my son how to grill, and he's a bad man on a grill. But in terms of going and buying a lot of red meat and a lot of things of that nature, beef and things of that, not in his house. Not in his house, right? So I appreciate you for being that example and for sharing your story with everyone here. Let me bring it back and ask folks, what do you in terms of a lot of folks have said they train, and we got athletes on the call here as well. I mean, are there additional types of things that you use to supplement? Because are you getting enough of the nutrients that you need when you go plant and vegan? I'm asking that again. I told you I instigate, right? So I'm asking that really as an instigating type of question, just to make sure that I can eat tofu all day, I can eat this all day, and can I still get the nutrients that the health professionals or practitioners, as you call them, say that we need to live a healthy life? I mean, one, we can just look at Cliff and, the skin is look, you don't look a day over 24, brother. We could still be going to the grad right now in Davis, because you still look good.
I'll take 40. James, that's a good question. I'm going to keep this one short. When you ask me about nutrients, this is the biggest logical argument that we can make to people that ask me about the protein and this and that, right? What I would ask of your audience, and I'm sure my co-panelists can confirm, is that think of the largest animals that you admire: the hippos, the gorillas, the giraffes, the elephants, and think about what they eat. They get all of their protein from plants. All of it. The cows that we eat, the veal, the beef, the chicken, the pork. Let's just cut out the middle beam, because what they're doing is they're processing the proteins and the essential nutrients in the plants, and they're processing it, and it's what's building their muscles, right? Mm-hmm. So we're eating that. So my simple question, and this can be confirmed with many Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, right? The China study, all of these different studies can confirm what it is that I'm telling you at a logical level. Cut out the middle beam, because they're getting their nutrients from the same place.
Okay. Interesting. Mr. Mark Thompson.
If I can add.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Just to talk about what Cliff was saying, your body's designed to create its own protein. If you have the correct aminos, I do believe in not getting empty calories, but if you're getting those, they'll tell you the 8 essential aminos in your body will produce its own protein. There was the most powerful man in the world. He was a big guy, vegan guy. This guy asked him, he goes, "Hey man, you're strong as an ox. How'd you get that way?" He goes, "You ever seen an ox eat meat?" I mean, leave it at that.
Make it plain, huh? Make it plain.
Yeah.
I love that. And, I'm going to come back because I want to ask Dana that as well, kind of tying in on the supplementation piece. But, Mark, you and I were talking a little bit earlier, right, in terms of some products and some things that you may take advantage of. But I don't think we got your your definition or what you focus on now? Are you plant based? Are you vegan? Are you vegetarian? What's kind of what goes on at the Thompson house? Mark, you got it? I guess he's not there. We can't hear him. So then I guess let me come to you then, because we were talking before the show started
Hey,
about
hey,
the
guys,
different. We were talking a little bit before the show about the different types of proteins, right? That we take, especially if we're training, if we're lifting, if we're exercising, things of that nature. And the difference between kind of your wheys and your plant based and your different caseins and things like that. You're the one that's on the panel that's certified personal trainer, so I'm coming to the expert in the room. What do you recommend to for yourself and for your clients as well when it comes to a protein based supplement?
If you're starting out, going into protein based and plant based, let's say, and you're not used to it, I honestly, for a lot of people, my first recommendation is to get away from the milk. Go with the plant based oat, almond. My go-to is almond, but my daughter's like getting the oat. Um, Cashew is a little thick. Eric does a chocolate milk cashew, and he's like, "This is too thick for me." So he likes the almond. That's the first step, I think, if you're trying to get into the whole plant based, is to switch up your milk. And then the second thing would be to get out of the casein. Casein, actually, you probably Google it. I forgot what article. It was a long time ago, but casein has been found to promote every level of cancer, every stage. It's been able to promote, enhance the mutation. So any kind of casein milk, I steer away from. It's just the inflammation. I took my daughters off of milk when they were young. They don't get sick.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. In regards to the protein, it's very important for us, especially us older folk over the 40s. We're fighting something called sarcopenia, which is the disease of aging. So what's happening right now is you're losing a percentage of overall muscle mass. So by the time you're like 80, I don't know if you've ever felt an older person, they're just like skin and bone, and they're really soft because there's no muscle. They found also that if you use a combination of HMB mixed with lutein, I believe, and vitamin D, you can mix that with a plant-based protein. I think you can use any plant-based protein as long as you look for the fillers, like the chemical fillers. Oh God, I can't think of one right now, but there's one that I really, as soon as I see it, like a maltodextrin.
Yeah.
We steer clear of those. Just you want to have like the meat and potatoes, not meat. Sorry, it's bad. Not meat, but that's one of my things that I say is just you want to have like the real nutritional core. Yeah, you don't want to have empty calories in any way. It's just a waste of energy. So that's pretty much my take on that. And just get your nutrients from food. Eric and I are both very busy. We actually have he has work and we have businesses we're running from home. So I understand people are, you've got your kids. It's hard to always cook clean food all the time or always prep it or whatever, because you can't prep it. It's nasty when you eat it later. Honestly, I can't eat prepped fresh food. It doesn't taste as good. Has to be fresh. And so one of the things we do, we have a green drink, and it has your spirulina, all that green stuff, all that good green stuff, and we get our nutrients from there also. So that I would, in regards to supplementation, and we do a garlic clove in the morning, drink our water. So
I love it.
Trying to do that whole anti-inflammatory kind of products in our bodies.
I mean, I like the statement that you made about get your protein and nutrition from food, proper food, as opposed to a lot of pills, a lot of powder, whatever the case may be. And I think, Bill, you're going down that route as well, right? In terms of just making sure that the quality of the food that you eat is top notch, as opposed to, anyone can go. I'm gonna name a name. Anyone can go to a GNC or a vitamin shop or wherever the case may be and grab a whole pack of capsules to take. That's not really the route to go as well, right? We want to fuel our bodies the right way. You agree?
Yeah, totally. And this is where I get a little skittish in that, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. And, when people like Dana talk, I really listen. And I think it's kind of the fun part of this is when you get into it and you listen to folks like Dana or Dr. Michael Greger, uh, you learn a little bit more. And also, I think you're right, James. I remember watching a documentary on PBS. There was a Cal professor of nutrition who said basically, don't buy anything that's advertised. If you see an advertisement, don't buy it. And if you're in the supermarket, stay out of the middle. You want to go to the fruits and veggies, which are typically exactly at the outside. So what I see and what I'm trying to learn is, for example, vitamin D seems to be a challenge for a lot of people, and for plant-based folks, that could be tough. Also, the B12 scenario. So I'm trying to learn and follow the thought leaders on this, and like Dr. Michael Greger has been tweeting about, for example, the link between stroke and a B12 deficiency in vegans. And what does that mean?
Oh, wow.
And how it goes.
Okay.
One day you have a study that says coffee is good, another day it says not good. But I think here, I think once you're into it and you're kind of trying to follow those trends, that's a very good thing, because I think you're kind of onto like next level thinking. And to your point, James, as well, like I've got, like ginger or cayenne pepper that I will, or chia seeds, and I'm trying to use them in the great smoothies my wife makes. The cayenne pepper on the potatoes. You know what I'm saying? So you're right, not to get the nutrition in supplements, but get them from the proper foods, and then maybe enhance them a little bit. But I also, am quick to, again, it's like, you talk about COVID or any, like, I'm not an infectious disease doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist. And also, I said to James when we talked about, when he graciously invited me to this panel, I said, I feel like, the Goodfellas movie, when they invite Paulie to go in partners on the restaurant to financially back it. He's like, what do I know about a restaurant? I sit down, I eat spaghetti and meatballs. That's all I know about a restaurant. What do I know about running a restaurant? So I kind of feel the same way here. Although the meatballs are vegan, the marinara is low sodium, and the pasta may even be shredded zucchini. You know what I'm saying?
That's all right. That's all right. That's a good point. And don't talk about my coffee, because it's 5:30 and I'm still drinking. That's my vice. Eric had his ice cream, but he did turn me on to the non-dairy. So I've been hitting my grocery store up for that as well. Let me ask about this, because you touched on something, Bill, and maybe Cliff, you can start. Going to the grocery store, right, and actually finding these foods, right? I mean, disseminate or squelch the myth that it's hard, or it's challenging to actually find the right foods to go out and eat. I go to Rayleigh's, or I go to Nugget, or Whole Foods has a whole different type of mindset, right? It's geared for folks who are forward thinking and kind of conscious on that. But your Safeways of the world, your Wincos, whatever the case may be. Talk to us about a day in the life of you going to the grocery store and finding some food. Even though I know you live on a farm, so you grow probably 70% of what you ingest.
Yeah, definitely the vegetables. No, that's a great question. It's serendipity, because I'm amazed you asked that, because I literally, in hearing Bill talk, I was just thinking about the myth, and this is a question I'm often asked. As a matter of fact, I was installing a new water pump for the property yesterday. And the handyman that came over, he's a big guy, Emmanuel, and he's Hispanic. And we went to the store and we were talking about veganism. And he said, it's expensive, no?
Yeah.
And that's a big question I always get. And I think that myth comes from most people that are making the switch from, their standard diet and the way that they've been eating to a vegan diet, or a plant-based diet anyway. Is they still buy the steaks and the chicken and I call them dead animals, while they're trying the new stuff. right? And that replaces it. So, the Bocas and the corn chicken and, now the Impossible burgers and all that. But when you look at a steak that costs, let's say $12.99, and then you look at a box of 4 Boca patties, it really is less expensive, provided that you can make the switch in full. So most people have that transition period, and that's where the myth of it being expensive comes from. Also, in terms of finding the food in a grocery store, I mean, I still go to Safeway, I still go to Rayleigh's, Bel Air, Food Max, Save Mart, all of that. Bill made another good point that you shop on the outside. And most of what we eat, usually there's a centerpiece to our meal, right? For dinner, there's usually potatoes or steak, some peas, broccoli, right? I would say 80% of our normal meals are already plant-based. We just have that one meat centerpiece. So if you can find that replacement, which is,
Interesting. That's a
I'm
good
going to
point.
tell you, 23 years ago when I went vegan compared to now, I have to tell you, man. James, you remember even 10 years ago when we went to that restaurant, there was a lot more involved with me talking to that waitress.
Yeah, yeah. I had a handful of drinks just waiting on you to get your order right. But,
You know
again, I
what I
was
mean?
intrigued. But,
Yeah. I remember that day too because we got that sampler, which is also the
Mm,
alcohol that we got was vegan, but we got that sampler of all sorts of stuff. I loved it. Uh, but yeah, so if you can go with that mindset, wow, I'm already 70% plant based. To be honest with you, right? Most people are because most people, especially as we get older, what do we preach to our kids? Eat a balanced meal, eat your
yeah,
veggies, do this. I mean, especially certain cultures, right? Asian cultures, we already eat a lot of rice and soy and kimchi and, plants and all that. And then if you look at Hispanic culture, rice and beans and, you know what I mean? So there's a lot that we already eat. If you go to certain sections, like in Bel Air, for example, there's an entire section in the refrigerated part by the vegetables, and I know this by heart. You go there and you find your soy hot dogs and your tofu hot dogs and your tofu and your now they have the sandwich meats that look like sandwich meats.
yeah.
And change the mindset. People say to me, "Oh, you eat that fake meat." I said, "Nah, you eat that fake meat. Those are really animals that have been murdered." That's what I tell them. I said, "I don't eat the fake meat.
I like that. No, I like that.
The real meat. My meat is really designed to nourish my body. You are eating that fake stuff. You are
Yeah.
eating the murdered, dismembered body parts of an animal that used to love and cherish and miss and all that stuff, right? So, and if you're having trouble in the grocery store finding these items, ask your friendly grocer.
I love it because when you put it into perspective like that, and I think everyone here has done that or is doing that, but when a large majority, I think, of society would not want to go and prepare their food.
Absolutely.
If they had to go grab that cow, if they had to go pluck that chicken, if they had to go do that work,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a completely game changer what was the name of the show on Netflix, wasn't that was the one that changed my
Yeah.
whole mentality as well.
Exactly.
It started with
Me
you,
too.
Cliff, but when
Yeah.
I saw
Game changer.
Game Changers on
Yeah.
Netflix, that actually changed my entire mindset in terms of seeing animals being housed in whatever pens that they were, inhumane housing. I mean, and then just shot and murdered like that. I mean, and again, that changed my complete mindset. I want to ask a question because you touched on. Go ahead, Cliff, because I want to go back to something and we can still talk about it.
You mentioned, you raised a good point, and I want to speak to this and give it to the audience. I mean, to my co-panelists. You said that if we had to prepare our own meat,
Yeah,
muscle and epinephrine of animal tissue, and if all of us were neighbors, and let's say we all lived in a neighborhood, and I had brought this up before, and I just showed up at my house, and all of a sudden you started hearing, because if you've ever heard a pig get slaughtered, it's no joke. It sounds like they sound like a human being.
oh
I would
man,
have the cops. I would have the cops called on me if I just decided to hang chickens or pigs upside down, slit their throats, let them bleed out, right? I would terrify my children, first of all. I would terrify anybody coming. And with that said, I want to point out that in the United States, there are probably 10,000 federally sanctioned slaughterhouses in the United States, meaning that the federal government comes in to inspect them. That means, let's just say, for argument's sake, there are 5,000 people working at each of these slaughterhouses, right?
Okay.
So that's 50,000 people that have been federally sanctioned where it's okay, legally okay to kill animals. Those are the people that have been given the job to kill animals. And we've seen with COVID what's happened to a lot of those folks. We've seen psychologically and emotionally what happens when their job is to kill every day. And I suppose, and I propose that it is at the root of a lot of how we treat each other with the mass shootings. And I know that's a huge argument, right? It could be even considered conspiracy. But if we can't at a basic level realize how indiscriminately we kill the most innocent representatives of nature, how do we dare expect us to treat each other equally?
Wow, that's a powerful point. That's a powerful point, and a relevant point, right? Again, it hopefully makes everyone think about the humanity of it, right? Again, and your definition of, plant-based versus vegan, because it's a whole conscious mindset in terms of that. We had a question that came in, and I think someone talked about the Impossible versus whatever the other burger is.
Beyond.
The Beyond Burger. I've had them both, and I won't say there is one that I don't like as much. I forgot which one it was, but your thoughts on that, right? Again, these large scale organizations and corporations, one, they're losing revenue because folks are now becoming more conscious about what they put in their body, but this whole shift, I guess, towards a different type of a product on the shelves. Look, when I went to high school, soy burgers were the thing, and I love my soy burgers. It is what it is, right? But haven't had one in a while. But Eric, let me ask you: have you tried the Impossible or the Beyond?
We tried them both, and I think it was the Beyond meat that it didn't taste so bad until you smelled it, and then you know how your smell and your taste kind of go along. It tasted like the smell of dog food. I kid you not. So we were cooking. I was like, "Oh my god, it smells like! Oh my god, is that dog food?" I swear, we were blown away when we first had it because there was like seasoning and stuff. I was like, "Oh man, here's my vegan choice. Here's my my meatless choice." And then I was like, "Oh wow, this is starting to taste."
All you need is to put some seasonal on it. That's it. Seasonal and paprika, but that's all you need.
Yeah. So so we just do that to dog food now. No, but yeah, it was bad. The Impossible Burger, it wasn't so bad. But the Impossible Burger, not too bad. And I think they have them. You can get them like in all kinds of different we saw a bunch of stuff in the stores. I think we leave. There's some things that Dana will get at the store that's meatless. More of the veggie like the veggie burger I had today and stuff. We don't really buy the Impossible Burger for home. It's like if we eat out, we'll say, "Oh, this place has the Impossible Burger," so we'll grab it and then try to be conscious of the other stuff that they have in it, like the breads and things like that. So yeah, dog food. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I didn't know you could actually. I thought it was branded. I didn't think you could buy it at the grocery store. The Impossible. No, I thought it was just a Burger King.
Beyond you can buy, but the Impossible Burger at the fast food marts, the fast food, the fast food stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm dropping names. Burger King. I'm dropping it. If they shoot somebody, they'll sue me.
They're all starting to do it. They're all starting to get that Impossible Burrito, the Impossible Burger, the Impossible Hot Dog. We actually go to the Habit, and the Habit has it's a veggie burger. It's a veggie patty. I like the veggie patty a lot. The veggie patty is my go-to, all the time. And then, I eat enough of that I'm satisfied. But Dana's always wondered because, I'm like 200 pounds. She goes, I don't think you ate enough. I'm like, I don't sit down and have huge meals. This little woman, she'll sit down. And I'm like, oh my, how are you putting that away? Where's it going? But yeah, yeah, the Impossible Burgers are at the.
All right, don't get in trouble here, brother. Look, I'm not. Don't you
You
know?
know she
I'm
looks good.
watching. I'm watching.
I'm
Yeah,
Filipino. Sorry.
You
I
know
have
she
to
looks. She has a nice.
Okay.
you know, I've seen videos of Dana, you know, lifting and doing squats. You know, she could take it. You don't watch it now. I can't help you. I'm
Oh
600
yeah.
miles away right now. Let me ask this because again another great question from another member of the Burks family. Thank you very much, Sonny. GMOs. Who can or want to answer that? Would that be you Dana, or you Bill, kind of to talk along that line? Take.
I'm going to dish this to Dana. I'm not sure on the GMO deal.
I think the GMOs is the genetically modified.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it just. I'm not like an expert. You're constantly learning, so I want to just put that out there. I do have my cert in nutrition and physical education, like physical training, personal training, but I'm not like a doctor. But I will say this, and I'm big on like energy. Eric just talked about that, energy in your food and anything modified.
Yeah.
You know, like that's chemicals, and it's not natural. Anything that doesn't, even like our products that we use in the house, like if it's not natural, we get like rashes or something. I think it's because we're older now. I don't know what it is, but we use a lot of natural everything as much as we can. Stay away from anything genetically modified.
We don't do fluoridated water. You know, now San Diego was the last to hold out, and now they're putting fluoridated water in their water. We don't do the tap water. We look for water like alkaline.
Okay.
Yeah. So anything GMO, we try to stay all natural, not the chemical stuff.
You can try to do like vegan, you know, get as much as not do genetically modified foods. They're just bigger. They might be bigger. Let's say you get organic blueberries, for instance, and they're smaller. Or and they'll actually, if you taste it, the bigger ones taste more like water. They don't have that flavor. And then you get organic blueberries, and they have a powerful flavor of blueberries. You can taste the difference in between an organic banana and a regular banana.
Yeah. Bill,
And that's where I was going to go. Oh, sorry, James. Just on like taste and it's amazing the flavor that say cauliflower has, or a potato. And Dana, for you, and Evie to have the palate, and Cliff, you as well, to have the palate to discern between some type of modified banana versus a normal banana. Like, I think sometimes it's hard to articulate, like we started to talk earlier, about just the energy and how much better you feel eschewing. I had to drop in a vocabulary word for James.
There it is. There it is.
Eschewing dairy, just simply that, and recognizing the taste of, some Chipotle vegan A's versus, mayonnaise or some other condiment that may not be good for you. And sometimes it's just hard to articulate that and explain that to family and friends. And then also there are just times, and I think, Cliff, you said it earlier, that you just have to think about, okay, this decision that I'm making, is this really, or James, maybe you said this as well, or alluded to it, that you've got to think about, okay, is this good for me in the short term and the long term? So sometimes at that point of contact, we really have to think about what the best. Now, I'm lucky to have my wife and daughters, as you guys have supportive families, because I think that's really important to have supportive families and friends, because it can be, I'm sure, kind of lonely if you're, like Cliff, like you were doing this 20 years ago. Like that's, I really commend you for that, being that far out in front and being that smart, courageous, decisive, and also having the intestinal fortitude to do it, because I'm sure it wasn't easy then, and the choices now are abundant compared to then. So I'm just really happy to be here and to share it, and if it helps one person, man, it's certainly worth it. I'm sure that it will. But I think sometimes the noise out there that's too costly. Well, what are you spending on meat and seafood, or that it's a banal plate? No, the flavors are plentiful in their organic existence. So anyway.
Can I interject there? You said the flavors, and we were talking about the flavors. I have to remind everyone, and this kind of comes to people as an epiphany. What do people do when they normally create meat? And James, you even said it earlier. When they're preparing meat, some sort of meat, whether it's the ribs or the pig feet or the steak, they prepare them in such a way where they taste like spices and plants and herbs.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Forgive me. I have yet to meet one person in my 53 years of life, Till's point, where they've just taken the meat, slapped it in the oven, and just take it out and eat it.
Mm-hmm.
We all, as human beings, prepare dead animal flesh to taste like plants. Honestly.
What do they do? Throwing ketchup, A1 sauce.
Yeah,
whatever rub,
salt, pepper, right? Basil, things of that nature, right? Throwing that on, yeah.
All of it is done to help prepare the dead flesh in a way that tastes more like plants.
And I just said you could put that on dog food and it'll taste better, right?
Yeah, and even the other question. Well, I noticed that when he asked that question, he said something like, "Well, it still looks and tastes like dog food, right?" Well, I would ask the audience too to really bridge the gap between ourselves and cognitive dissonance, right? We've developed this cognitive dissonance over the years where we ignore really what's going on with these animals. And I've seen the most macho of men, really, when I go to them and I say, "Hey, try this vegan item," and they look at it and they smell it first, and they're like, I'm like, "Dude, it's a plant, bro." You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? So I would ask, that mind shift change, okay, it might look like dog meat to you, but the alternative is you're eating chopped up muscles of a cow that the FDA allows poop to be in. There's a certain percentage of poop that's allowed to be in the cow meat. What is the exchange? What you know to be plants and tofu and spices mixed to look like a patty.
Yeah.
And you say it looks like dog food, or do you want to continue to eat the chopped up muscle of murdered animals mixed with poop?
Right.
And even one more, guys. Eggs. This is how I convinced my son to go vegan at 14. I mean, I've been talking to him, and at 14 years of age, he finally made the change. I told him, I said, "Son, would you be okay if I took this egg, went to the bathroom, put it in the toilet, went number 2, took it out of the toilet, washed it off the best that I can, and just gave it to you? Would you allow me to fix it for you?" He's like, "Oh, hell no." I'm like, "Why not?" He said, "Because, man, I don't care how you would clean it. You just pooped on it."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, why is that any different? I'm your father, and I created you, and you have 23 of my chromosomes inside you. Why is that any different than what the chicken does? Because there's no difference in where the egg comes out from the chicken. They poop and they give birth out of the same canal. They literally poop out of the same canal that the egg comes out of. And on top of that, it really is their period. It's eggs or chicken period. Really. To be honest with you, keeping it real.
Well, my pastor always said, "Make it plain." And I don't know if we can get much plainer than that, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a dicey topic to go down. But one thing that I want to do is I want to keep it real because I care about people's health, right? Mm-hmm. And we are eating, the unborn babies of chickens when we eat eggs. We're eating the milk and secretion of cows for their babies when we consume milk or any dairy product. And we're eating chopped up muscles of animals when we consume meat. So I just wanted to really, we got to start telling the truth with each other.
And that's again why I wanted you guys on this panel to have these hard and awkward conversations, right? let's kind of wrap up with this, because you guys even talked about it shouldn't be difficult to go out and find the right things at the grocery store. It shouldn't be difficult to go to a restaurant and find something that's appropriate for you. Maybe we have reached one, right? Maybe we have got to someone to say, you know what, okay, now I hear it. It's hard though, right? But it shouldn't be hard, but it's hard. Give kind of some guidelines, just one or two steps that you could say for someone tomorrow who's got to go make that grocery run. Just a mindset or some guidelines for starting to make that shift. I mean, I would liken it to quitting smoking, right? It's going to be real tough to go cold turkey. Again, I hate to use that term, but again, man, all the synonyms are just flying off the hook today. But for someone to start so abruptly. But Daniel, let's start with you. A guideline for someone who again is stuck on their ways that they've been through for the last 20, 30, 40 years of life, and now are hearing it and say, you know what, I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit. What would you recommend that they do?
I guess I could start with how we did it with Eric. So when we first started dating, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you a smoothie." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." And then I was watching him make the smoothie, some yogurt in there. I'm like, yeah, he's putting all the milk in there.
I put
I'm
milk
like,
in my smoothie.
okay. So I mean, well, there was
Yogurt.
You
It was
put
yeah.
yogurt. It was, so I don't do yogurt, and then I just educated him a little bit on the milk, and then he started doing almond milk. Like I said, I really think we have to just take one step, just start with one thing. And I think a staple in everyone's diet is milk. You put milk in your coffee, you put milk in your cereal, you drink milk with cookies. I really think changing that one, and then just slowly replacing an item that isn't vegetarian with something that is plant-based.
That's a good point. I like that. Eric Burks, let's go to you. Since you swear that you never put milk in your smoothie, I know you're getting 10 feet away. Hopefully she don't throw a shoe at you.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Juice. I put juice and I put.
What kind of juice?
Yeah.
What kind of juice?
Orange
Okay,
juice
what kind of
or-
juice?
Juicy water.
Yeah, and then I'll put like a yogurt in there, and I thought I was eating good. I thought I was being healthy, but anyway, that was a long time ago. To me, I feel like it's a paradigm shift because, like, I think Cliff said something about, when there was a big guy and he's like, oh, he goes, man, it's plant. I think it's a mindset that society puts like, oh, eating plants is, what is that? It's not the thing to do, And I think if more people would maybe say, hey, you know what, it's not that bad, it's great, it's and I think as time goes by, and we're seeing it now because you got, they got stocks in Beyond Meat, there's stocks in Impossible Burgers, everybody's going vegan. It's changing. It's going to take a paradigm shift for people to think, oh, it's the thing to do. Remember, being overweight was the thing to be, right? Women, and then now they want thin women, and now I know I'm going back, but it becomes this trend. I think everybody's like, as they go into this trend of now, oh, everyone's eating, vegan. It may be a trend, but I think they're shifting that way and trying to eat healthier and live longer, and feel better. Because I didn't hear all that stuff when I was growing up. All I heard was, they got all the commercials, eat an egg, drink milk.
All you can eat, right? Yeah.
What was my cereal was like Captain Crunch at the time. I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're just eating good. I think it's shifting, and I think it's going that way. And I think groups like what Cliff is doing and they're going out and spreading messages that saying that, there's an alternative. There's an alternative. You don't have to live on. Really quick, my brother's going through some stuff. We had a show on that, and
I saw that.
It opens your eyes. That's my baby brother. I'm like thinking, Jesus, man, I'm the oldest of them, right? I'm the oldest. I need to make a change because I'm their example of how to eat, live, be better. And I know we're grown men now, but I'm teaching my kids early so that they can keep teaching their kids. And we just live differently, eating differently, financially differently, things like that. I think I love these conversations because that's what we need to have. We need to educate our young. We need to educate our families. And guess what? That's going to just exponentially grow.
Yep.
In my mind. Okay, next. I'm
No.
sorry.
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate that, and that makes sense. And you touched on something, and I thought about it. The societal shift, because again, maybe not even that long ago, there was always those commercials. Milk, it does a body good.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that anymore, right? Folks are really becoming more aware that, yeah, maybe you need to go with that soy or that almond or that. I'm an almond milk guy. I order pallets of it from Amazon that show up every 5 weeks. It's insane. I just got mine today, so I'm a happy guy. But that's a good point. And again, that's what we're doing. Having these awkward conversations that we need to have with.
James, I
Yeah.
have a question. Sorry, I was just wondering, because this is a trend thingy, are we all from California on this panel?
We are all in California, but
We're all in California. We're all
yes.
in California.
Yeah. We got a lot of East Coast blood here too now. We got some Jersey boys in the house.
I'm just saying, because I think honestly, in regards to trend, California and like the beach cities, California in general, we're more into like healthy. Like if you this is like Southern food. That it's a culture thing too. I think, and your communities is you are like your environment. So I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah, up till about a month ago, there weren't any Cracker Barrels out here, but now we got a Cracker Barrel, and that good old comfort food is. We'll get them. That's all right. We'll stay on the right track. We'll get out there and convert as many people as we possibly can. Mr. Horinda, give us some of your thoughts on that one or two thing that you would tell someone who is considering making a change in mindset.
I would say eat what you like, but just replace it with non-dairy products. So the mozzarella cheese, the Dia mozzarella cheese is tremendous. The marinara sauce at Sprouts, or at look at the label, or at Whole Foods, get the low sodium variety. I would say definitely whether it's almond milk, as you guys have mentioned, coconut milk, whatever you like, oat milk. I would say eat what you like, but supplant the dairy part with non-dairy. Just keeping it's simple would be my advice. And I think that two quick things. We have to see yet observe, right? It's like Watson has climbed innumerable times to 221B Baker Street, but he's asked by Holmes, how many steps is it? He doesn't know, but Holmes tells him it's 17 because I have seen and observed. You have only seen. So in other words, take that action, be bold. And, finally, I just want to thank you guys. I'm very thankful for my wife and daughters who luckily, being in LA, wife and daughter, like you said, environment, culture, I'm very thankful. And as Cicero once said, the thankful heart is not only the greatest virtue, but it is the parent of all the other virtues. So how fortunate are we to have this time together, to be able to have this conversation, and to be able to be cognizant and make these decisions. So I would encourage, obviously the panel is going to keep going. And anyone that is thinking about it, I would encourage them to go in and to go deep on it.
Yeah. I told you guys, you won't have to bring in a thesaurus and an encyclopedia when you got Bill Horinda in the room. I try to raise my game to as high as I can. Appreciate you on that, sir. Mr. Roberts, let's close with you, I guess, from your perspective, because you've got a wide breadth, I think, of involvement, right, in the activism of proper nutrition and the difference between, again, the plant-based versus veganism. So your thoughts on how to assist someone.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I would remind everyone is most vegans are not like my daughter or my two youngest children, Emery and Liam, who are now 2 and 3. I basically started over, right? They have, and I'm privileged and honored to be able to say that they will never in their life experience what it is to eat another soul. That is beautiful to me. So I want you guys to consider that. I want your audience to consider that I didn't start on this journey Eric can tell you, my mother is Asian too. She's Korean, and Koreans throw down with some meat. Bulgogi is one of my, up until I was age 30, bulgogi, which is a very famous Korean barbecue dish, was one of my favorite dishes. You add in my dad's side, which is, he's from New Bern, North Carolina. Come on, man. Ham hock, chitlins, pig feet, ribs, all that. And so there was a period in my life where I had to make a tough decision as well. But I think of the framework of HELP, HELP, right? If you focus on health, if you focus on the environment, you focus on lifestyle, and then personal choices, which includes ethics, right? I think if you remember that we are creatures of habit, we're creatures of culture and tradition, and most importantly, selfishness. So, when you said, James, it is difficult when we go into the grocery store. Do you know what I think it is, honestly? It's not that it's difficult. Because James, you are a world-renowned technologist, and you are a solutions architect, and there's many like you that work at the company that you work at, and you come up with the most innovative solutions the world has ever seen. Likewise, Eric works in a similar industry. Bill works in an industry where he gets to create and interpret characters that never have been imagined, and myself working for Intel, right? So I think it's not that we think that it's difficult, it's really getting over our culture, tradition, habit, and selfishness. Because we don't face, and I'm being honest, we don't face it, and I went through that myself at 30. So that's what I would say, and I would reinforce Bill's point. Replace what it is that you're doing. I love Dana's point about start with milk, maybe, because milk is huge. Yeah. So, let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with our kids. Here's another one. When my daughter and I used to go in the grocery store, I wouldn't lie to her about what it was. Rather than me use the label of steak, which is a term, I would tell her, baby, that's dead cow. And so when she started to grow up at 8 years old, when someone would say, hey, baby girl, you want some of this? She'd be like, is there cow in it? At 8, you know what I mean? Yeah. So let's be honest with our kids. Let's be honest with the people around us, and it will really help shorten the distance of that cognitive dissonance that we all go through when it comes to our diet.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate each of you for your time, for your tutelage, for your information and sharing your story, right? It is not taken for granted at all. This is an ongoing journey, right? As long as we have another day to go out there and make something happen, let's try to be better. Let's try to encourage and support that sphere of influence that we have around us. And if we can help someone to improve themselves while we improve ourselves, let's do that. I will definitely put in the show notes kind of some links to some key information and to some resources that you guys will share and have shared with me. So again, we can steal a term from a good friend of ours, Mr. Kevin Bracey. We're going to try to teach one and reach one. And on that note, you guys, hopefully he doesn't sue me for using his slogan. But
you changed it a little bit, so it's all good.
I did, right? So I changed it. Hopefully I don't get caught up in some litigation. You guys, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Be good to yourselves.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you, Gabe.
Oh, yeah. Wait,